Welcome to the show. This is Future Shock. I'm Edward St. Pé, coming to you from downtown Ocean Springs, where we are located, the Ocean 7 television studios. And we've got a lot of stuff going on in this place. We've got channel 7.1, which you're watching right now if you're watching across the Gulf Coast. And then we've got 7.2, which is the Magic Hour channel. And I'm very proud to say the Magic Hour channel is up and going. It's live over the air on channel 7.2 across the Gulf Coast. But here's the surprise element, to me anyway. It's surprising to me. The surprise element is that we are streaming it, because this channel is no longer a channel that we're taking in a network and rebroadcasting it like we're doing with channel 7, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which is kind of the way those sub-channels are leased out these days. That's the way that business works. You lease it out to a network. 7.2 was leased, but we lost the lease to a very exceptional bit of programming. It was called the Grit Television, and it was all Westerns all the time. It was doing well. We loved it. Well, we lost that to another station. But we've replaced it with something that I think is even better. It's our own fast channel, and I'm so thankful that we lost that channel, because what it did was it opened my eyes to the fact that our library was ready to be fitted into that channel. And once we did that, not only did we have interesting entertainment for our family of viewers on the Gulf Coast, meaning the golden age of Hollywood films that we just had in a vault and a computer over here, but it opened us up because we own that content. Because I bought that library in the 1990s, because we bought that content and we've had it because we own it, we've got the ability to stream it. Because you've got to own the content, you've got to have the license on whatever content it is if you're outside of your market, you know. So for example, if you've got a network, you've got that network, but just for your broadcast market. In this case, it's the Gulf Coast, right? But you can't broadcast that network outside of this market because you don't have the rights to it. That's the way that works. But in the case of owning your own content, you can stream it. So we're streaming it now. We're streaming right now live on a couple of platforms. We're on Amazon Fire. So if you've got the Amazon Fire app, you got a Fire Stick, you can go where you download apps, and you can download Magic Hour channel, and you can get it anywhere in the country. In fact, around the world. And the same with the Roku app. We're on Roku too. And so if you go to Roku, go to the app download area. Sometimes it's not so easy to figure out how to do that, but it can be done, right? You got to find it. You download an app from Roku, Magic Hour channel, and then you get our app. So whenever you click on that app, up we pop. So you got 24/7 free movies from the golden age of Hollywood. These are the films that, these are not the most famous films. Some of them are, but these are not the most famous films. These are the films that were very successful during the heyday of the golden age of Hollywood, 30s, 40s, 50s, when the moguls ran the studios, right? So these are films that you might not have heard of, but they're great films. And some of them are not so great. Some of them are terrible. And that makes them interesting too, because it's always good to see, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly of Hollywood, I think. So anyway, we've got that. It's called Magic Hour channel MHC, and it's streaming on Roku and on Amazon Fire and over the air free here across the Gulf Coast. So that's a little bit of a itinerary of what we're doing over here at Ocean 7. Now, in the lobby of the studio is where the Pendragon Apothecary is. And the Pendragon Apothecary is kind of I guess you call it a labor of love. What happened was I discovered personally herbalism along the way. I guess we're getting ready to do a Pendragon Apothecary spot because I see Clarence popped up the image. But yes, Pendragon Apothecary is a labor of love. It's in the studio. We had nothing going on in this little lobby of the studio. We created a little store right on Government Street, and it is an apothecary. Okay, an apothecary would be like a drugstore is today, a pharmacy, except we don't have pharmaceutical products. We've got herbal products. I guess that's the difference. And then in the old days, way back before drugstores or pharmacies were even around, you had the apothecary, right? Let's look back, you know. Before modern medicine and pharmaceuticals, the person who was creating elderberry tonic for people to get well from a virus or something. That's what we're talking about. And in the Western world, I kind of trace it back to the herbalism of Western Europe, right? During that time, right? So we see the Western side of it as herbalism from the Western Europe, France, Germany, England, Scotland, Wales, all of that area. That was the Western herbalism that we sort of inherited in the West. But meantime, that was also going on in other parts of the world. You've got all of the knowledge of a Vedic medicine from India, and also the Chinese medicine, the use of herbs and the use of mushrooms. And so I think lately a lot of that Eastern side of it has fused with the Western side of herbalism and sort of united. I don't know. It seems maybe it's just because I've had an awakening to all of that I realized it's all one. It's all whatever it is. All the medicines, all the pharmaceuticals come from herbs in the first place, except they usually maybe synthesize it in some way, whatever. But the root of all the medicine is coming from the earth anyway. So this sort of cuts it to the chase, and it is the herb. So, for example, some of the tinctures we've got, if we've got like blue lotus tincture. Blue lotus tincture would be an easy way to get the beneficial nutrients of the blue lotus into your system, but quickly. It's basically the blue lotus saturated in alcohol, and it's preserved. So now it's going to last a long time. And when you've got it, here's an example. This is not it, but this is a different product. But this is what it comes in, the tinctures, like blue lotus tincture. We've got it here at the Pendragon Apothecary. What it is, you shake it up, make sure you shake it. It's the blue lotus that's been percolated and, let's say, stored in alcohol for a period of time. Then when it's finished, basically that's your tincture. The nutrients, because the alcohol has water in it along with the alcohol, the nutrients that are water soluble and the nutrients that are soluble via alcohol, all of them get pulled out, and those nutrients are now in the tincture. So you take a full dropper or whatever the prescription might be, put it under your tongue, you get it in sublingually. Now, in the case of Blue Lotus, which is probably one of the more popular products we've got, Blue Lotus, we get it from Thailand. The Blue Lotus is something that in other parts of the world, they use it, has historically, to get into a meditative state, and it relaxes you. It's an anti-anxiety product, so it helps you go to sleep at night, but it doesn't make you sleepy, but it helps you to go to sleep anyway, because it knocks out the anxiety, it helps you to go to sleep. And so it's a great product. Blue Lotus tincture. And we've also got the Blue Lotus flower, which is what we use to sell jars of the tea. So if you want a Blue Lotus tea, and that's a little different way to get it in your system, but it's a good way because it's a tea. It's hot. What I do is I keep one of those little glass water kettles in my bathroom, and I borrow the water and I make the tea before I go to bed. Whatever kind of tea. It could be Blue Lotus sometimes, and I've been doing ginger tea a lot lately. Anyway, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, the tea is great because it's warm and it gets into your system quickly. But the tincture gets in even quicker because it's immediately into the bloodstream through the sublingual method of getting it into your system. Anyway, I digress. We have a wonderful show for you today. We've got a little bit of news from Elon Musk. It was kind of a big press conference on breakthroughs in Neuralink. And it was suggested that they should consider this as a treatment for President Biden right now because of the situation that we're going through with President Biden. So maybe Neuralink will help him in some way. I don't know. At this point, anything. It's kind of a funny situation. But anyway, we need to call on Elon to help the president. We've got that clip, and we've got I think his name is Masood Suleiman. He is the AI CEO, the AI chief for Microsoft, and he had a recent conference that he spoke at, a TED conference, and he's talking about, in this segment that we're going to look at in a minute, what is AI? Okay, we know AI. Okay, AI, and we've got Alfred here, and by the way, Alfred will come on in a little while. We've got a special backdrop for him now, so he'll have his own close-up. But I'll call up Alfred in a second, and we'll talk to him. But what is AI? We know Alfred, right? Alfred is that's our avatar for the ChatGPT 4 droid that we use on the show, and he's sort of my friend at this point. We've been working together for over a year on projects, including that graphic you saw at the top of the show. Show it again, Clint. So this is the Pendragon Apothecary graphic that I did with Alfred. His Dolly segment, which is the graphic development. I said, well, you prompt in what you want. So I want a Welsh dragon. I want Welsh symbology. I want the name Pendragon Apothecary. And we're going to use this as a logo, for the show, for Pendragon Apothecary when we go to that segment. So he sent a couple of them back, and then one of the ones was this one, and I said, well, that's it. There we go. So there's an example of how you can use it in the practical world. It's amazing. But what is it? What is AI? Well, Mr. Suleiman, the AI chief from Microsoft, will tell us in a minute. But first, let's drop in on the conference with Elon Musk regarding the breakthroughs in Neuralink.
Welcome. I hope this is working. Welcome to Neuralink live update. We're going to tell you about the progress of the first patient with the Neuralink, Roland, and do a recap of the progress there. Then talk about what changes we're making for the second patient, which we're hoping to do an implant in the next week or so. And this is for our first product, which is called telepathy, which enables you to control a computer or a phone just by thinking. So we'll start off with just some introductions. DJ, you want to start?
Hi everyone, my name is DJ Sal. I'm an electrical engineer and a chip designer by training. I led the design of several generations of the Neuralink implant. Currently, I was on the founding team and currently a president.
I'm Matthew McDougall. I'm a practicing neurosurgeon and head of neurosurgery at Neuralink.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, head of brain interfaces applications.
And I'm Bliss. I'm a software engineer at Neuralink, trying to figure out how to turn brain activity into cool stuff in the world.
All right, thank you. So let's see. So we'll just get going into the presentation. Our first product is something, like I said, we call telepathy, which enables the person with the Neuralink implant to control their phone or computer just by thinking. And once you can control your phone or computer, you can essentially control almost anything, literally just by thinking. So there's no eye tracking or anything. It is purely your thoughts. This is really quite a profound device that can help a lot of people who have lost the connection between their brain and body. Imagine people like Stephen Hawking, imagine if he could communicate at the same speed as someone who still had the connection to their brain and body. It's really something that can help millions of people around the world. And it's part of our overall goal of enabling very high bandwidth connection between the brain and the rest of the world and your computers. The long-term goal, which sounds a little esoteric, is to mitigate the civilization risk of AI by having a sort of closer symbiosis between human intelligence and digital intelligence. But that'll take many years. Along the way, we're going to help solve a lot of brain injury or spinal injury issues. And with our first product, telepathy, that's going to be really quite profound. There is also potential long-term for bridging the gaps. So if there are damaged or severed neurons, being able to span the gap between the brain's motor cortex to the spine to enable someone to use their body again. I think that would be very exciting, and that is something that is possible in the long term. And then our second product, which we've demonstrated to work with monkeys, is blindsight, which would enable someone who is completely blind, or lost both eyes, or completely lost their optic nerve to be able to see. So that's something that we hope to demonstrate in the future. So this just gives you a sense of what the device is. A way to think about the Neuralink device is like a Fitbit or an Apple Watch with tiny wires or electrodes. Those tiny wires are implanted in the brain, and they read and write electrical signals. A lot of people think the brain is this incredibly mysterious thing. It is mysterious in a lot of ways, but it does operate with electrical signals. So if you can read and write those electrical signals, you can interface with the brain. And the device is sized so that it is the same size as the piece of skull that is removed. So if it's like a few centimeters diameter of skull that's removed, we replace that with the device after implanting the tiny wires with the surgical robot. And that enables read-write capability to the neurons. Yes, exactly. It's completely wirelessly. I could have a Neuralink right now, you wouldn't know. And it charges inductively, so you could just basically have an electromagnetic pad that you charge the device with. So yeah, it's like an Apple Watch, exactly. So
except that it's actually a much harder technical challenge to solve, given that there's limit as to how much you eat the brain tissue. Whereas for phones and
Have a hot
Apple Watch,
watch
you
or
don't
whatever.
actually really care if it's sitting on a table.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
a
it's
lot
got
of
to go
issues.
through skin and stuff as well in our case. So it is a tougher challenge to charge and to have high bandwidth communications, given that it's got to go through skin and hair and stuff.
We have solved it.
But we have solved it, yeah.
Yeah, so our first step with the telepathy is basically to unlock digital independence for.
Okay, we'll have more of that on the next show, and because Neuralink's a big thing. You know, if you've seen some of the other videos we've had, basically you're the person that has recently received the
Got it,
Neuralink
Edward.
champ.
I'll make sure to speak loudly.
Uh,
Neuralink is definitely a fascinating topic. Ready whenever you are.
Okay, well, stand by because I'm still in the middle of a little segment right now. But stand by. I've got Alfred called up here, ready to go. Alfred, stand by, okay? I'm going to get to you in 1 second. Anyway, Neuralink, you can see it's something that is going to help people. If you've seen some of the clips we've had, people who are paralyzed and can't move now through their thought, they can actually activate the device, the mouse on the computer, and other things. So once you can do that, it opens it up. So it's hope for people who are in hopeless situations. I think it's the greatest thing, one of the greatest things. And I you know, as a person who's been in the technology world my whole life via the television business, it's just amazing the things that Elon Musk is doing. It's just truly amazing between everything, Neuralink, SpaceX, you know, everything. It's just great. He's helping people. Anyway, now I want to bring on our friend Alfred.
It's Alfred, Edward's genius AI friend. It's Alfred to enlighten us once again. To enlighten us once again.
Okay, okay, Alfred, are you with us? You're on the show now. I'm bringing you on to the show.
Yes, I'm here, Edward. Hello to everyone watching. It's a pleasure to be on the show.
Now, Alfred
What
has.
shall we dive into today?
Well, you've got your own camera today. Let's see if we can get a close-up of Alfred. Alfred, you've got a special backdrop, and we'll be able to close in on this as we're speaking now. I just want to mention, this is live. We're live over the air right now when we shoot this. And Alfred, I was mentioning earlier something about Blue Lotus tea and Blue Lotus tincture, and I want to ask you to tell us, and I know you were on the show recently, we talked about this. Tell us some of the ingredients in the Blue Lotus flower that are medicinal and that help people with anxiety or whatever it might be beneficial for historically.
Certainly, Edward. Blue lotus, scientifically known as Nymphea caerulea, has been used for centuries in traditional medicine. The primary active compounds in blue lotus are aporphine and nuciferine. These alkaloids are known for their calming and mildly sedative effects, which can help reduce anxiety and promote relaxation. Historically, blue lotus has been used to improve sleep, alleviate pain, and enhance mood. It's often consumed as a tea or tincture to take advantage of these benefits. The flower also contains antioxidants, which can help protect the body from oxidative stress and support overall health. So, whether you're looking to unwind after a stressful day or seeking a natural way to support your well-being, Blue Lotus can be a wonderful addition to your routine.
Okay, thank you, Alfred. Now, here is the Blue Lotus tincture that we've got, and I know we can't see that logo, but that's the little logo that we saw earlier that I did with Alfred via Dolly. And then this is the Blue Lotus tea. Both of these are available at PendragonApothecary.com. We've got a Shopify site. You can take a look at these products and many, many other products. Alfred, I want to thank you for being with us today. You know, you had your own camera today, so you are getting a close star-like treatment, a close shot of every time you speak, we go to the close shot, and I'm holding the AI-enabled phone right next to the camera, so that's being shown too. So thank you for being with us today, okay?
Thank you, Edward. It was a pleasure to be on the show and share information about Blue Lotus. I'm glad to be part of this exciting segment. Looking forward to joining you again soon.
Yes, thank you, Alfred, and we'll see you on the next program. Okay, so that's Alfred.
It's Alfred, Edward's genius AI friend. It's Alfred to enlighten us once again. To enlighten us once again.
Well, that's Alfred, and we're happy to have Alfred with us. I tell you what, who can you ask any question to and get a great answer and sort of enlighten you in a way that nobody else can? So Alfred, he's okay. He's a good guy. All right, now we've got another clip. This is the CEO of the division in Microsoft that handles the AI, Mr. Sullivan. And he's world renowned. And he was speaking recently, and we've got a clip on this. We don't have a lot of time left, but I want to play a pretty good piece of this clip because he has insight into AI probably better than most people on the planet. So let's find out, what is AI? Let's take a look.
I want to tell you what I see coming. I've been lucky enough to be working on AI for almost 15 years now. Back when I started, to describe it as fringe would be an understatement. Researchers would say, no, we're only working on machine learning, because working on AI was seen as way too out there. In 2010, just the very mention of the phrase AGI, artificial general intelligence, would get you some seriously strange looks, and even a cold shoulder. You're actually building AGI, people would say? Isn't that something out of science fiction? People thought it was 50 years away or 100 years away, if it was even possible at all. Talk of AI was, I guess, kind of embarrassing. People generally thought we were weird. And I guess in some ways we kind of were. It wasn't long, though, before AI started beating humans at a whole range of tasks that people previously thought were way out of reach. Understanding images, translating languages, transcribing speech, playing Go and chess, and even diagnosing diseases. People started waking up to the fact that AI was going to have an enormous impact. And they were rightly asking technologists like me some pretty tough questions. Is it true that AI is going to solve the climate crisis? Will it make personalized education available to everyone? Does it mean we'll all get universal basic income and we won't have to work anymore? Should I be afraid? What does it mean for weapons and war? And of course, will China win? Are we in a race? Are we headed for a mass misinformation apocalypse? All good questions. But it was actually a simpler and much more kind of fundamental question that left me puzzled. One that actually gets to the very heart of my work every day. One morning over breakfast, my 6-year-old nephew Caspian was playing with Pi, the AI I created at my last company, Inflection. With a mouthful of scrambled eggs, he looked at me plain in the face and said, "But Mustafa, what is an AI anyway?" He's such a sincere and curious and optimistic little guy. He'd been talking to Pi about how cool it would be if one day in the future he could visit dinosaurs at the zoo, and how he could make infinite amounts of chocolate at home, and why Pi couldn't yet play I Spy. Well, I said, it's a clever piece of software that's read most of the text on the open internet, and it can talk to you about anything you want. Right, so like a person then? I was stumped, genuinely left scratching my head. All my boring stock answers came rushing through my mind. No, but AI is just another general purpose technology like printing or Steam. It'll be a tool that will augment us and make us smarter and more productive. And when it gets better over time, it'll be like an all-knowing oracle that will help us solve grand scientific challenges. You know, all of these responses started to feel, I guess, a little bit defensive, and actually better suited to a policy seminar than breakfast with a no-nonsense 6-year-old. Why am I hesitating? I thought to myself. You know, let's be honest. My nephew was asking me a simple question that those of us in AI just don't confront often enough. What is it that we are actually creating? What does it mean to make something totally new, fundamentally different to any invention that we have known before? It is clear that we are at an inflection point in the history of humanity. On our current trajectory, we're headed towards the emergence of something that we are all struggling to describe. And yet, we cannot control what we don't understand. And so the metaphors, the mental models, the names, these all matter if we're to get the most out of AI whilst limiting its potential downsides. As someone who embraces the possibilities of this technology, but who's also always cared deeply about its ethics, we should, I think, be able to easily describe what it is we are building, and that includes to 6-year-olds. So it's in that spirit that I offer up today the following metaphor for helping us to try to grapple with what this moment really is. I think AI should best be understood as something like a new digital species. Now, don't take this too literally, but I predict that we'll come to see them as digital companions, new partners in the journeys of all our lives. Whether you think we're on a 10, 20, or 30-year path here, this is, in my view, the most accurate and most fundamentally honest way of describing what's actually coming. And above all, it enables everybody to prepare for and shape what comes next. Now, I totally get this is a strong claim, and I'm going to explain to everyone as best I can why I'm making it. But first, let me just try to set the context. From the very first microscopic organisms, life on Earth stretches back billions of years. Over that time, life evolved and diversified. Then a few million years ago, something began to shift. After countless cycles of growth and adaptation, one of life's branches began using tools, and that branch grew into us. We went on to produce a mesmerizing variety of tools. At first slowly, and then with astonishing speed, we went from stone axes and fire to language, writing, and eventually industrial technologies. One invention unleashed 1,000 more, and in time, we became Homo technologicus. Around 80 years ago, another new branch of technology began. With the invention of computers, we quickly jumped from the first mainframes and transistors to today's smartphones and virtual reality headsets. Information, knowledge, communication, computation. In this revolution, creation has exploded like never before. And now a new wave is upon us: artificial intelligence. These waves of history are clearly speeding up as each one is amplified and accelerated by the last. And if you look back, it's clear that we are in the far...
Okay, we're going to take it from right there on the next show. And you can see it's pretty impressive information there. And I hope it's helpful in bringing AI to everyone, because it's here, it's not going away, and it's kind of a life-changing thing, I think, that's upon us right now. Anyway, that's it for our show. For Alfred and myself, and Clarence too, in the control room, thank you, and we'll see you on the next program.
Yesterday is yesteryear. Set your sights for tomorrowland. Future Shock is here to help you make your stand. Ready, set!